Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Live with RYE. I am so excited you're here and thank you so much for joining me. I hope everyone can hear me. This is my first time going live using StreamYard, so I'm very excited. Before I begin, I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who has supported me throughout all of this, given me all of the love, encouragement, and support. It means the world to me, and I am so grateful for all of it and cannot thank you enough. So Live with RYE is going to be a talk show series that I created, which has always been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to have a talk show. And, I thought now with being in quarantine and everything going virtual, and as we'll learn later, being your own multi-hyphenate, which I am, I thought now was the perfect time to launch my own talk show. So I will be talking with people from the industries that I love the most: Broadway, music, pop culture, entertainment, and lifestyle. And I will be digging deep and personal with my guests while maintaining a positive, loving, warm, and welcoming atmosphere, because that's the most important thing, especially welcoming warmth and acceptance. So I'm very excited. These interviews will range from being live to recorded. It all depends on scheduling. I'm just super excited that, to just be doing this. If you're here today, please comment on YouTube. Comment and let me know you're here. Say hello. I'd love to hear from you. So before we begin, I do just want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's really the only way you're going to know about this. Is you'll see it on YouTube and you also see my Facebook page. So please hit subscribe and below and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get updates and alerts every time I go live. And the more subscribers I have, the better it is for my channel. And I could do so many cool things with the more subscribers that I get. So thank you so much. And while we're at it, be sure as well to follow me on social media at RYE the News Guy on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All right. So there we go. Figuring all of this out. It's live show, people. So, all right, now for the main event of the evening. Help me welcome my three guests this evening. I'm so excited to have them. They have changed my life for the better because of their workshop, MultiHype, which we'll talk about. My three guests this evening are the fabulous Ashley Kate Adams, Kimberly Faye Greenberg, and Michael Kushner. All right, let's bring them on. Let's see.
There I am.
Hello. Hello.
Yay!
Hello, could you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bubba, you're doing great. I literally left my show and clicked on this link. And so I knew my technical aspects were going to be good because I was just live. But but I got in and I was like, he is nailing it. Good for him.
Thank you. Trying, it's a live show, but yeah, it was great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on. So these are my three wonderful guests: Kimberly Faye Greenberg, Michael Kushner, and Ashley Kate Adams. So let's get into it all. So you three have created something so incredible, so spectacular called the Multi-Hype Workshop. And, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about it. Let's start with the main thing. So, because a lot of people don't know about it if they're not in the entertainment industry. What is Multi-Hype Workshop? How did it come about? And, what was the reasoning behind it?
Who wants to start?
I'll give you our latest why statement, as Mr. Kushner teaches in the workshop. So the multi-hyphenate workshop, it's an interactive experience, and it results in community and forward motion of multi-hyphenate artistry in the entertainment industry. So we just try to encourage people within the industry to create with every part of their being, not just one part of their artistic identity. So that's our main goal, and to, like you, RYE, and that's why we've always gotten along, to encourage them in a loving and a supportive environment. So
and loving and supportive it is, I will, for sure.
So I should say this. Some people are probably like, what the hell is a multi-hyphenate?
That's right.
I am here to tell you that a multi-hyphenate is an artist who has multiple proficiencies that cross-pollinate to help flourish professional capabilities. So basically, for me, in my life, I'm a photographer, producer, performer, and writer. I take my income as a photographer, and then I kind of like Dolly in Hello Dolly. Money's not worth a thing unless it's spread around like manure, encouraging young things to grow. That's sort of the basis of multi-hyphenating. I take my income, and I am able to support my projects as a performer and producer and writer, and just sort of balance everything out equally. And there's such a science to it. And Kimberly and Ashley Kate, my two friends and my co-collaborators, my co-creators, my co-scientists even, that's our passion, is that we like to figure out how we can exist as artists by doing more than one thing. Because I think we all have trauma in our lives of people telling us you can't do more than one thing, but I'm here to give you a good, you can.
Yeah. I think that's the huge part of what we do, is because we want to be able to support each other. And I think as the three of us have done a lot of work over the years on our own, in trying to figure things out and create our life and create a life in this industry and kind of like break the mold and not necessarily break rules, because we say there aren't any rules. But I think when we all found each other, we were like, and then we wanted to bring people into the fold, especially now with COVID. I think a lot of people are pivoting. That's like the huge thing right now. I think a lot of people are realizing that having your hand in one pot may not serve you. You need to kind of spread yourself out in order to survive like long term. So here we are.
There's a reason why a stove has 4 burners, honey.
Yes.
I love that, Michael.
And I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
You got in the next session next week. You guys actually,
Oh my God.
you touched on 2 things. Kimberly, you said it. The first was about the permission to create. Nobody has that permission to tell you. And that was something I learned in MultiHype, because for people who don't know, I took the MultiHype workshop session 2 in the end of July. And, it was nice to hear that, because, you're told so often, you can only do one thing. You're only, you have to be this, you have to be that. What do you mean you want to do it all? That, you're not focused. And you can do it all. You can be your own multi-hyphenate. And on top of that, you also said, with the current situation that we're in with the COVID pandemic and our livelihood, our industry changing literally before our eyes, we have been forced to sort of become our own multi-hyphenate, to, do things on our own, to learn to produce a live show, to, go virtual, If
I can jump off of something that Kim said so brilliantly in one of our workshops, and I've always kind of functioned that way, but I'd never heard it from someone so clearly. She said, your agent only makes 10% for a reason. You, as the creative, are in charge of 90% of your career. And I really loved how you put that,
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in control. I mean, this is our life, and it's
That's right.
we're the only ones living our life, so we gotta live it on our terms.
And also, it needs to be fun. Like, this is the thing. It's like, how many of us have complained in pre-cal, in A-Push, in science? How many of us were like, oh, I can't wait till my homework is memorizing the monologue and singing a song. It's like, well, guess what your homework is now, my friends? Like, it's exactly what you were dreaming of while you were in high school. Like, make it your homework. Like, you have the power to make your life, like, there are no rules, just like what Kimberly was saying before. It's like, there are rules, but they're meant to be broken, because who established rules in the industry? Not really anyone, you know what I mean?
And if I might lovingly state, it's becoming the trend now to create your own work and produce your own work. And Hanny, the people on this screen, have been doing it for
Years and years and years.
Yes. Well, and Mike, it's funny you said that, and you guys also said that too in session about what rules. And I think actually said in the session, but no rules. There's no playbook. No, there's no playbook that says, you're an actor, you must do A, B, C, and D. Or I want to be a musician, you must do, C, D, E, and F. It's like people have been accustomed to, just doing, if you're an actor, you performer, you must do this, and you can't do anything else. If you want to produce, you must produce. So it's breaking the norms and breaking that, these rules that were never established but kind of were, and saying, do your own thing, really. And that's powerful, and that's really something I really walked away with. That has just, to me, been, there is no rules, and that's what I think makes this even more exciting about being, your own multi-hyphenate, is that,
Well, I think that's what's really interesting is during this pandemic, we saw so many friends, we saw so many people leave, and more than leave, it was like an exodus, right? It was like people like really left, and there's no judgment at all, because survival is the most important thing. Like, you got to survive. You got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, because if you don't take care of, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't exist. You can't do anything. So, you have to, there's absolutely no judgment for leaving, but I think a lot of people did leave when things got tough. And without even giving it the chance to be like, all right, how do I pivot? And there is a lot of pivoting happening. I think we're all sort of pivoting all together. And I think our jobs are to be able to hold each other accountable, but also to support each other. And the industry is changing. People are creating left and right, but it's ultimately like, what is the plan? When this tornado ends, what is it going to look like? But 1, 2, 3, 4, and plus a bunch of other people, we're going to literally be able to go, we got it. We know what we're doing. We're ready to sell you that play. We're ready to tell this story. We're ready to do this. So that's what's important about right now, is figuring that out.
And there's a whole lot of us.
Yes, there's a good amount of us now, which is exciting.
Yeah.
I was going to say 2 things too, which are, I think, important to this. Number one, this business is so hard anyway. And I feel like the 2 big things about branching out, not being afraid to branch out, and why we like to encourage this, is because, number one, it fills your soul.
Oh, yeah.
You always have your own artistic freedom to fill your soul, so that then when you fill your soul, you can go do the other things that are very difficult and challenging and consistent negativity. But then also, the funny thing about this work that we do, and as I'm like I get all excited.
You get excited.
No,
I get excited. I get red. But anyway, I feel like it encourages those other things to automatically level up. Like, you do not believe that the more you own all your hyphenates, the more the things you really wanted to happen actually happen in ways that you never thought could actually happen. It's crazy. Like, the universe is very funny, and I could go on and on about that kind of thing in my life, but it's very funny. Like, when you're so chasing one thing, it's almost like you're pushing it away. So when you're like branching out and encouraging all the other stuff in the universe, it kind of like continues to come to you.
Yes.
That's just my weird.
Because of what she's saying, it continues to add, to your value.
Yeah.
And continue building and growing. And then so everything continues to bubble and grow all at once. It's fascinating.
It's so true. And I mean, I'm seeing that it's end of July was when I took the workshop. I'm seeing that, and it's only been a month and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm already to see that, Kimberly, that expanding like that there's been so many more possibilities that I wouldn't have even known, wouldn't have even thought about that. On that note, I know that the third session is next week, but what can people who take the class learn? What will they be learning? What are the sort of, without giving too much away, what are some of the things that they can take away from this exciting course? Because I think everybody should take this. And I know I'm biased because I took the class and you learn it, but I think everybody in the entertainment industry at least needs to take this.
I'll say the big thing is, like, you're going to find things in you that we encourage, like, bringing out the most unique part of yourself and and bringing that to the surface and figuring out how that will best benefit you and your other ideas and your other projects and what you want in everything as a whole, and how all those things can like build together to kind of create like the business of you in this world that we live in. So I feel like that's like a huge thing of giving you permission to be like, this is you and you're great. You're great. Everything about you is great. Now, how can we even like take you to the stratosphere? You know what I mean? There's no like, don't do that or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah, I mean,
And off of what Kimberly's saying, you know, we're each three independent creatives with brands. So what's kind of cool about it is we structure the class where we kind of go through the journey of all three of them each day based off of a theme. So, you know, we kind of start the workshop off with Michael, and then we move to Kimberly, and then we end up the day with me. And it's really cool because we all teach our very specific, you know, Dear Multi-Hyphenate or BYOP or How to Get an Agent Broadway Expert classes. But we all have put it together to where we have a final goal in mind. So it's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, the key words, just like what was said before, is that it's a workshop. It's an interactive experience, results in community, forward motion of multi-hyphenate artistry, and it has to do with the entertainment industry. So it's for artists, you know, and I feel like sometimes, you know, when we explain what we do, it's very, I don't want to say corporate, because like, I think that it can easily be confused with that, but we're theater artists. And when it comes to corporate work, I think that a lot of corporate people are looking to add artistry to what they do to make it more accessible and applicable. And like with Instagram, like how do I make like the young person come to me? You know what I mean? I think like when multi-hyphenate work comes to them, it's like balancing like social media appearance and stuff like that. But with us, there are so many different fields in the theater and in the TV and film world that it's like, well, I can be a costume designer, I can be a producer, I can be a stage manager, I can be these things. What we specifically teach it's for artists. So, and I think that there's what I said before about like trauma. It's like I've been in the industry since I've been in the industry 20 years. June was 20 years that I've been in the industry, and
wow,
there's been so many people saying, you do this and this and this, and that's it. Or, well, when you get to the city, it's going to be hard and you're going to be waiting tables. I haven't done that yet. So, you know, and it's not like, and it's no shade on not saying like if anyone has ever done that whatever, but I basically gave a big FU to those things and was like, I have these stories that I want to tell, and I can capitalize on them, and I can inspire other people to do that. And Kimberly Faye Greenberg and Ashley Kate Adams had the same experience where they want to inspire people, and that's how we joined together and created this experience. That was a lot. I'm really sorry.
No, not at all. I'm so inspired. Now, so obviously it begins next week. I assume it's probably all filled, correct? If people want to join, or are there spots left?
Well, guess what? We have news.
We have news.
We're pivoting as a group because, as you know, we've got things going on in our creative lives as well as our clients. So we're actually pivoting by a few weeks.
Oh, that's exciting.
So we're now going to be moving to October 12th.
Yeah.
So with our lives coming back to sort of normal,
yes,
and other people's lives coming back to normal, October is looking like it's going to be a better time. Because I think there might be down to...
I think the whole word is pivot here, where we have really been pivoting on a daily basis. And I think it's just because where we are in the world right now, everybody is trying to figure things out. So
yeah,
everyone's been trying to pivot and figure things out.
Yeah, we're just doing what we teach.
It's sort of like
literally.
I mean, do you know Come From Away, like the musical Come From Away?
One of my favorite musicals, yes.
Which is one of my favorite shows in the world, but it's like we're kind of in that moment right now of like it's like they're in Gander and they're, you know, we have Diane and Nick falling in love and this thing happening over here and this thing happening over here, but then it's time to go home. And it's like, well, life starts to pick up again. And all of a sudden we're kind of like, all right, well, how do we continue? How do we move on? And that's sort of like with this pandemic, it's like we sort of created this amazing virtual experience for us. But now we're like in-person lives are starting up again. And that's amazing for us because also we're going to bring MultiHype into the personal experience. We'll be able to do in-person classes, but we're not there yet. Like not everything is in person yet. Like if there was a green light that said, great, everything can be back in person, everything's good again. Like great, we would rent out a studio at Ripley Grier Studios and be in person. But what does that look like now when everyone's lives are changing again?
Yeah. I love the reference that you made. I love how you equated that to Comfortable Way. It's funny because it has been on my mind, that musical, just the term Comfortable Way, because with everything going on in the theater and the industry and the industry changing, at the end of the day, this is a complete side note, but we all really do come from a way. We all have, we all are one as a whole, but we all come from a way. We're all different people, and we all need to come together. And that musical, especially with 9/11 just passing, that musical is just so special to me. And I like that how you equivalated that. That was really you're so right about that. I never thought about it that way.
Thanks.
So you're welcome. So are there spots left then for the pivoting time in October 12th? And if so, how can people be a part of it? Where can they sign up? I know you guys have a website.
Oh, and there it is.
So,
there it is.
Is that where they can register?
Or they can email us at multi-hypheworkshop@gmail.com.
Yeah, either way.
And we respond, twice a day. So they will get a response within, 5 hours during business. So
yeah,
business hours.
Well, that's good. So what have you learned about yourself as artists from becoming, multi-hyphenate? What have you learned about yourself as artists taking a multi-hyphenate sort of route? Is there something that you've learned that you didn't before becoming a multi-hyphenate? Has it taught you something? Has it maybe had you look at something differently about yourself?
Yeah, all the time.
I would say everything is kind of painted by that. But for me, my biggest lesson and crux of BYOP is it comes down to the permission thing. But it's not really coming from outside sources. It's coming from an output of myself and giving myself permission. And that was the biggest thing, was being able to confidently claim my creativity and my creative journey. So that, I think, is the biggest thing that I've taken away, is that personal creative freedom, and that there are no limits other than what we might place upon ourselves, So I think that's the biggest thing I have taken away from being a multifaceted, multi-potentialite, multi-hyphenate. I would say.
Love that. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of being, we're talking about multi-hyphenates and being your own, the three of you have some pretty incredible multi-hyphenates. I mean, Michael, you have your photography. Kimberly has her stuff. So, you can take as long as you want, but I want you to kind of each tell us, what is it you do, and your multi-hyphenates. I knew Ashley Kate because I've known her for a few years, but I didn't know, Michael, you were the man behind some of these iconic photos that I would see on, in the theater, and Kimberly, everything you did with your Fanny Bryce. So whoever wants to start, but just tell us, what you do for your multi-hyphenate and what you're working on, if you want to, of course.
Should I go?
Yeah, girl.
Well, I have definitely varying facets of multi-hyphenate. So I've always been the actor, but then was told when I was young that I wouldn't hit any realm of success until I was older. So I was always looking at ways to continue to work. And then funny enough, when I was cast in an off-Broadway version of Fanny Bryce, that kind of took off. And then from there, ended up playing Fanny Bryce. That's a whole nother long story. But I ended up creating my own show. Now, I had no idea that creating a show was going to be a thing that I was ever going to do. So I did create it, and I was like, well, it could be a long-term thing of having for forever if I actually like put some work and effort into it. And so it's been about, I don't know, like going on 8 or 9 years that I've had this solo show that's grown over the years and toured the country. And I have an album, several albums, and now it's gone virtual. So I have pivoted as well, which has been a whole nother thing to figure out. But so there's been that. And then the crux of that is from people seeing me do that and asking, how have I created this little brand? Because from playing her now in the acting world, like I said, it helped to elevate that, so that I like play all these historical women like on TV and in theater and around the country. So it kind of elevated that. And then people saw that and they were like, how do you do that? And then I started teaching people about how I created my brand and kind of how I did the show, and did the business of this. And then that became my next multi-hyphenate, which is what brings me, to Ashley and Michael, which is now like coaching actors on the business of being an actor or working backstage, because I also work backstage on Broadway. That's always been like my day job kind of thing as a dresser swing. So they kind of all have like worked together again to elevate. Like little did I know that this one thing would elevate the other and back to the other. And a lot of these things were things I always wanted but never knew would happen. And it's only because I created like Fanny, literally. I just said, yes, okay, we'll try this. God only knows how you do it, but I'll figure it out somehow, you know what I mean? And then here we are, like, many years later, and all these other crazy things are happening because of it. So that's kind of been my journey. And if people can look me up by just typing my name into Google or going to Kimberly Faye Greenberg, and they'll see my show and they'll see everything, and they can work with me as the Broadway expert. So I feel like that's kind of where my journey has been, and it just keeps expanding, and I just keep trying to expand and seeing what happens and pivoting like we all do. And I'm still totally a full-time actor. Like this past week I had like 3 auditions that I had to put on tape, and then virtually streaming the Fanny show, and then you know what I mean? Like, so none of it is like, it's always there. It's all always there.
Yes. And I hope they went well, by the way. I saw that. I'm so happy that you were, that made me happy to see.
Oh, thank you.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
So I've always been in love with Broadway. Like, until like really the first show I ever saw was Riverdance, the national tour of Riverdance in like 97. But the first musical I saw was Titanic, the national tour of Titanic in 98. And from then I was hooked, and then I started acting in 2000 when I was 9. And started working professionally slowly after that. And then my whole track was just performance, go to college, go to Frenchwoods. But then in high school in Frenchwoods, I started to like, my mentor, Elena Garcia, who's my everything, our sophomore year final was to write our own one-person shows. And as a class, we would direct, produce, and tech them. And she basically was putting in how to be a multi-hyphenate into the curriculum. And was obsessed with that. And she didn't even, there was no word, multi-hyphenate didn't exist in 2006, 2007. But she had done it. She had started a theater company. She was an equity actor, SAG actor, director, teacher. Like, she did it all too. So, but she made it look seamless. And she was raising 2 kids. And she had, it was just fierce. So I was kind of raised in this place of like, if she could, that's just how you do it. And then I went to Frenchwoods, where I was like, you know what? I want to put my one-man show that I just did at high school on video. So I went to the video department of Frenchwoods, and I filmed a video, like a movie version of it. And And then I went to college and was like studying musical theater. I went to college, studying musical theater, but I was on the guest artist committee, and I hosted a radio show, Best of Broadway, 97.1 FM, WICB.
For my radio station. That's so cool.
Honey, we all got to be our little Seth Rudetsky's, okay?
Yeah.
And so who I wind up working with, growing up listening to him, and now I'm like
yeah,
working with him. So it's just amazing. So then I moved to the city, and I was going to every single audition. And my energy was just getting drained because I was doing work that I was really proud of, and people would be like, "Thanks, Michael." And I was like, "Cool, okay." I guess no one likes Ethel Merman in a 22-year-old's body. So and so eventually I was a little like just annoyed, because I was like, you know what? I'm not telling my stories in the way that are appreciated. I'm going to tell my stories elsewhere. And that's when I started photography and writing my own stuff and producing my own stuff at Musical Theater Factory, and just telling my stories elsewhere, and understanding that I don't have to be on stage to get my stories across. And if I am on stage, it has to be the right stories, because I had been kind of wasting a lot of energy trying to tell stories that I was desperately trying to justify that were mine, and they weren't, and I was just like feeling miserable. And then ultimately just being like, well, I could do this, this, and this, and this, and if you told me no, which people have told me no, I just sort of prove them wrong.
That's what it's all about, and it feels so good when you prove them wrong, doesn't it? Isn't that?
Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good.
Can I say too that the whole like desperation thing is such a norm for so many performers, that I feel like the second you embrace all the other stuff, that goes away. And then that's part of the reason too why you become more castable and you start getting these other things, because you're being fulfilled. You're not walking into an audition or being desperate.
Right, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. Okay, what about you?
Yeah, hi. I'm Ashley Kate. I was originally born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, to a musical theater family. So, some people's families have hair and, heating conditioning companies. Some people have restaurants, and our family business was musical theater. So, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hey.
Fuck him.
It was wonderful.
So, I grew up watching my parents performing and singing with each other, and performing, with a Louisville orchestra and with symphonies and in shows, and, watching them throughout, their tours and things. And honestly, for me, musical theater just represented love. So that's all I kind of ever knew. But so I was always the kid that was just really passionate with the hard work ethic. I was never the big, fish in the small pond coming from Louisville, Kentucky. I was actually one of the very, very small fishes that just like swam around a bunch of different places, and kind of similar to Michael, like would always be involved in making my own things on the side. But I was raised strictly to be a musical theater performer, and that took me to Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, which is, one of the most competitive programs to get into in the nation. And over 800 people auditioned our year. They took 10 girls and cut us down to 6. I graduated in 2009, moved right to New York City, and I got with my agent that I'm with now 11 years later, which is A3 Artist Agency, originally Abrams. They just went through a rebranding this past year. But yeah, I made my Broadway debut at 23 in the amazing revival of La Cage aux Folles. And a really crazy thing happened to me that truly set me on the path of my true purpose as a creative. And I joined the company on a Tuesday night. I had a typical 6-month contract on Broadway, and literally the next day after we performed our second show, matinee, we got told the show was closing in a month. And to, I think, experience that in your body of your dreams coming true, and then hearing that there is zero security, even when you make it in this industry, less than 24 hours later, it affects you. It changes you. And it's crazy because my impetus was to create my production company from that. So the summer, which it just was, we're 9 years yesterday. So the summer before we went out on the first national tour with Lacage, I went down, to the New York, business area in Wall Street and got my business license for AK Studio Productions. And we've got 10 television and film properties now. And I'm telling my stories in those ways. So I would say what's currently on my docket is my feature film, Boy Hero, which I wrote, which was inspired by the comic book trial of 1954. So I'd say that is the main piece. And then the other flip side of me is BYOP, which is Be Your Own Producer. So with producing, it's a lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean it is 9 a.m. to sometimes, midnight. When you've got a property that's in pre-production or you're on set doing 14, 16-hour days, it's a lifestyle. So I wanted to find a way that I could encourage people to create their own material and I could be available to them, right, on an hourly basis or a monthly retainer basis, right? So I could be their cheerleader, their coach, if you will, for their properties. So I could work on more than one at one time. So it's like, I might have 4 that I have to be responsible for in my production company, but then there's 10 others sitting there that I check in with, that text me, that email me, that consult, you know what I mean? So it's great because you can share the goodness. And what's really cool is that has turned into a book, and I got my first book deal, and I get to find out my dates tomorrow. So I'm like,
that's exciting.
Thank you. But I'm excited to share the information when appropriate. So BYOP has become a book, and it'll be available in places like Barnes and Noble and Powell's and Books A Million. It's crazy.
So cool.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Crazy.
You guys are taking over the world. You really are. You are taking the world by storm with everything. I mean, I truly, Ashley, you know how much I look up and adore you, but Michael and Kimberly, you have just added to that. You have just, not, as I said, and I say it, I know I've said before, you've changed my life. You've inspired me so much. I think are the 3 of you are truly are the true inspirations for this industry. They're like, if it's like the song New York, New York. If you make it here, make it anywhere. Then you guys did that. You make it here, make it anywhere. And you are doing it, you're hustling, you're owning it. And it's just, these are the type of things that I love to see. And it's a new generation, a new era, and a new wave of art, starting and beginning. And the multi-hyphenate, I think, is the way,
Absolutely.
And you're living proof of all of this, that it's possible. And, I've known you, I think, for over 5 years now, and to see your growth, through college to stepping into the professional market and already doing and achieving what you have. And also, learning how to collaborate properly. You've always been brilliant with that, And I know you've recently worked for an incredible producer, Dan Stone, who we love. And love him. And you've always just had this phenomenal picker about you, but you've also always been so confident. You've had RYE the News Guy for years.
Yes.
And it's incredible. You should be so proud of yourself. And now to be here with you, with Kim, with Michael, celebrating this live stream. What a gift.
Who could ask for anything more, as they say? Truly. I could not ask for a better guest. As we close out, I just want to finish with, what advice do you have for others, for aspiring multi-hyphenates, for aspiring artists, aspiring creatives? What is your advice that you can leave us with?
I think it's fuck it. Literally.
Yeah, I was going to say, be fearless and don't worry about the final outcome. Just move and doing what you got to do and figuring it out. And it's okay. You'll pivot if it's not right, and you'll try again.
Yes.
And don't wait on anybody to tell you when to move, what to do. Just start moving, because movement, right, and taking action is energy. And that's what we need to move our careers and our projects forward. So we can't skyrocket, right, from an idle place. We have to be moving.
Yeah.
And that part is science. You know?
The more you move, like what Ashley's saying, the more you're going to find your people anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you'll find your tribe, and that will help you propel you even faster, and like give you more ideas and take you to places you've never been, and maybe pivot you in even a new direction. I mean, who knows? So you just take that step.
You could do the one. So you gotta see if it's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or at least a piece of your puzzle.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, I hope everybody has liked what they've heard. If you haven't, maybe you're a little bonkers. But no, I hope you've liked what you heard. Visit multi-hypheworkshop.com to learn more about this incredible workshop. As I said, and it is biased, I don't care, but I think everyone in the entertainment industry should take this. You'll come away with, even if you come away with one thing, I mean, I came away with tons, but even if you come away with one thing, it is so worth it. And these three people are changing the industry for the better. And I'm just thrilled as pie to know them and to consider them friends. And, they have changed my life for the better. And so, thank you. And thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to come on. Michael, I know, as you said, you just got off your show, and that was so nice of you to pop right over. I felt so bad. Thank you.
No. You emailed and was like, yeah, I want to do it. And all of a sudden I was like, I have a show. Thank you.
No.
So sorry. Because I got so excited that I was really like, yeah. And then it got scheduled and I was like, whoa.
Please, I have done that more than I like to admit. It's okay.
Well, we're not only multi-hyphenates, we're also multitaskers. So that's
literally.
And that's the funny thing, is that people think that multi-hyphenating is multitasking, and it's not at all.
Not the same.
Skill set and identity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Got that right. Well, thank you so much, Kimberly Faye Greenberg, Michael Kushner, and Ashley Kate Adams, for this. I appreciate it. As you've seen throughout the broadcast, you can follow them on social media. I put up their social media stuff, and you can visit www.multihypheworkshop.com to learn more about this incredible workshop. So Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all soon and see you on the gram, as they say, Instagram.
Yes, we can't wait for more.
See you soon. Good job, RYE. Congrats.
Thank you.
Look at my Jewish mom arms. Jewish mom arms. I love it. Quarantine.
Oh my God, you guys, I love you all.
Bye, guys.
Oh, love it. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It meant the world to me that you tuned in and watched this. As I said at the top of the show, please hit the subscribe button below. Subscribe to RYE the News Guy YouTube channel. It would mean the world to me. Again, subscribing, I'm able to do so much with it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to the next episode. I will be sure to follow me on my social media to learn more. At RYE the News Guy, I'll be posting my next interview. And thank you for just being wonderful. We will get through this. We can do it. Things are changing, but we can get through this. So thank you for taking the time for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Take care.